What if the key to managing millions of cattle wasn't down on the ground, but thousands of feet above it? For farmers with vast herds, the challenge of keeping track of cattle has always been overwhelming. But now, they've discovered a game-changing solution. So how are they making it work? And what does this solution mean for the future of cattle farming? The answer may just surprise you, because it's all happening in the sky. Join us as we reveal how farmers raise millions of cattle from the air. In the ever-evolving landscape of agriculture, cattle farming stands out. And guess why? This type of agriculture is fueled by our endless craving for beef and dairy products. With the global cattle population reaching over 1 billion, countries like Brazil, India, China, and the United States are at the forefront, producing everything from juicy steaks to the finest leather handbags. But have you ever paused to consider how these nations manage such enormous herds? It's a task that's far more complex than it appears. Handling millions of cattle is an overwhelming task that presents not only logistical challenges, but also significant financial burdens. Just imagine you're a farmer at Anna Creek Ranch with thousands of cattle spread across a sprawling landscape that's as big as Israel and 23% the size of England. Now, imagine trying to locate a lone wanderer who's taken an unauthorized vacation in this vast landscape. It's like playing hide and seek with an animal that has no intention of being found. You'd agree that manually searching will not only be time-consuming, but it will also be a test of one's patience and stamina. Feeding is another significant challenge. How does one efficiently feed over 20,000 cows in a single day? It's a logistical nightmare that requires careful planning and execution. And then there's the question of manpower. Where do you find enough people willing to take on this kind of task? Ensuring each cow receives the right nutrition is crucial for their health and productivity. But with thousands of cows, each with unique dietary needs based on age, lactation status, and weight, it's a bit like running a Michelin-starred restaurant for cows. Thankfully, technology is the perfect solution. Gone are the days of tirelessly searching for lost cattle with nothing but a pair of binoculars and a whole lot of patience. Today, farmers are deploying drones, GPS tracking, and even artificial intelligence to keep tabs on their herds. It's like giving your livestock their own personal bodyguards who never sleep or take coffee breaks. Farmers are increasingly embracing advanced technologies to tackle these challenges. And guess what has been surprisingly helpful? Helicopters. Yes, those flying machines are proving to be quite the agricultural asset. You might be thinking, aren't helicopters just for celebrities or military missions? While that's one use, they also serve as a versatile tool in agriculture. So how did helicopters end up on the farm? Helicopters in modern agriculture. When you think of helicopters, farming might not be the first thing that comes to mind. However, helicopters are not just for rescue missions or military operations. They are now essential tools for large-scale cattle management. Initially, helicopters were associated with sprawling ranches in places like Australia, the United States, and parts of South America. Their ability to cover vast and challenging landscapes quickly made them invaluable for large-scale cattle operations. Today, their use has spread globally, assisting farmers in efficiently managing extensive herds across diverse terrains. The journey of aerial agriculture began way back in the 1920s with the introduction of crop dusting, where biplanes were used to spray pesticides over fields. This revolutionary idea laid the groundwork for what would become a highly sophisticated practice. Over the decades, technology has significantly advanced, bringing in modern aircraft, GPS systems, and precision spraying tools. These innovations have transformed aerial agriculture into a well-regulated industry that allows farmers to manage crops with unmatched accuracy and efficiency. So, how exactly do helicopters assist in cattle management? Well, they offer a bird's-eye view that helps farmers monitor their herds, track movements, and even guide cattle through vast pastures. In the vast farmland of Australia, helicopters have become an essential tool for herding cattle over long distances, a technique known as mustering. This modern approach allows pilots to guide cattle into specific areas like pens or new grazing spots, saving time and reducing the need for extensive ground teams, which can be both expensive and challenging to organize over large terrains. These helicopters are not given to regular pilots. The pilots are skilled at maneuvering the aircraft to control cattle movement with minimal stress on the animals, reducing the risk of injury and fatigue. This is particularly beneficial during hot weather, when traditional ground herding can be slower and more taxing on the cattle. But don't be fooled into thinking it's just about gathering cattle. The pilot must expertly maneuver to ensure the cattle don't panic while gently nudging them in the right direction. Meanwhile, ground crews and pickup trucks follow behind, ensuring everything goes according to plan. The use of helicopters for cattle gathering has become commonplace on large farms throughout Australia, which has a cattle population of 29.9 million. For instance, about 372 miles southwest of Darwin, an Australian family uses a helicopter to round up cattle during the morning rush. On any given day, the challenge might involve coordinating around 1,500 cattle, directing them to a designated gathering point. In South Australia, where cattle herds are massive, ranchers work year-round to manage approximately 81,000 cattle on their sprawling 1.3 million acre property. Back in the day, it might have taken 20 men and 3 days to accomplish what one helicopter can do in half a day. That's what we call efficiency. This revolutionary approach has transformed Australia's beef industry, allowing it to keep pace with the insatiable global appetite for juicy steaks and burgers. So next time you bite into that delicious steak, spare a thought for the unsung heroes, the helicopter pilots who make it all possible. They're not just gathering cattle, they're redefining what it means to be a cowboy in the modern age. Helicopters excel at locating and tracking cattle.
Today that we came here by helicopter, it probably took us half an hour to get from the side fence to the house.
From high above, they can quickly scan vast areas, making it easy for farmers to spot any cattle that might have wandered off or become separated from the herd. This is particularly useful in rugged terrain where ground visibility is limited. No more endless hours spent searching on horseback. A quick flyover can do the trick. Counting and monitoring cattle is another area where helicopters shine. They simplify the process of counting livestock, keeping an eye on herd movements, and checking for any stragglers or isolated animals. This ensures that all animals are accounted for and safe, giving farmers peace of mind. Helicopters also play a crucial role in land and cattle inspection. From their aerial vantage point, pilots can assess land conditions, check for signs of overgrazing, and evaluate forage availability. This bird's-eye view helps farmers make informed decisions about when to rotate cattle to new pastures, ultimately supporting soil health and sustainable farming practices. With over 28 million cattle raised across the US, especially in the American West where most are free-range, managing these massive herds across thousands of acres is no small feat. Traditional methods like horseback riding have lost some of their effectiveness. Ranchers often find themselves spending countless hours moving cattle between grazing areas, monitoring each animal, and ensuring none stray or get injured. To tackle these challenges, many have turned to helicopters as a modern solution. While the image of cowboys on horseback will forever be iconic, it's time to consider the countless benefits that technology brings to the table. Imagine a health crisis or a sudden need for crisis management. How do you handle thousands of cattle in such situations? Your best bet is using a helicopter. They can quickly deliver supplies to cattle stranded by floods or snowstorms, ensuring their survival until conditions improve. Additionally, if an animal is injured far from the main ranch facilities, helicopters can swiftly transport it to receive urgent veterinary care. This rapid response not only saves time, but also increases the chances of recovery for the animal.
Now, an extraordinary alpine rescue has been taking place in the mountains of Switzerland. Emergency teams had to leap into action and carry out the operation, taken to the air in helicopters.
Helicopters have empowered farmers to conduct large-scale livestock operations with unparalleled confidence. Cattle scattered across vast areas for Asian beef export markets. Helicopters make it possible to manage them effectively and efficiently. Take Switzerland, for example, where 12 injured cattle were airlifted down a mountain from an alpine pasture. Once safely lowered, the animals' health conditions were promptly assessed by the staff. These short aerial rescue flights utilize nets to keep the cattle secure during the ascent, with the animals hanging suspended beneath the helicopter by a long cable. Well, you can call it high-tech cattle care, because that's what it is. When it comes to managing predators and wildlife, helicopters have also proven to be invaluable tools for farmers and ranchers. In areas where predators such as coyotes, wolves, or wild dogs threaten livestock, helicopters allow farmers to keep a watchful eye on their herds and the surrounding landscape. Helicopters are particularly useful for monitoring predatory threats. By flying over the area, farmers can spot potential dangers and take necessary actions to protect their livestock and minimize losses. Helicopters are not just fancy flying machines, they're the rancher's secret weapon. Ranchers will tell you that nothing quite matches the effectiveness of a helicopter for predator control. With a roar that could wake the dead or at least scare off a few wolves, these flying machines keep herds safe by moving them swiftly away from danger. But beyond predator patrol, helicopters offer a wider view of nature. From above, farmers can spot environmental changes that might affect their cattle, whether it's a sneaky flood, a creeping drought, or an unexpected wildfire. And with this information, they can make informed decisions to safeguard their livestock and resources. Now, some naysayers might grumble about the hefty price tag that comes with acquiring a helicopter. It's true. Buying a helicopter isn't exactly like picking up a new pair of boots. Healthier cows mean better quality meat and milk, which translates to better farm profit, especially during the grazing season. Let's take a global tour to see how helicopters are revolutionizing ranching practices. A new era of integration. Helicopters have found their way into the operations of many large-scale cattle farms and ranches around the globe, particularly in areas with vast and rugged landscapes. Take Anna Creek Station, for example. Nestled in the heart of South Australia, this ranch is the size of a small country, stretching over 6 million acres. Managing such a massive land with traditional methods would be like trying to mow your lawn with a pair of scissors. Helicopters at Anna Creek not only help in herding cattle, but also play a crucial role in land management. They minimize the stress on cattle, which can now be moved swiftly. Over in Hawaii, Parker Ranch is another prime example of aerial agriculture. This ranch is not just any ranch, it's one of the largest and oldest in the United States, covering about 130,000 acres. Surrounded by mountainous and volcanic terrain, Parker Ranch is a place where even mountain goats might hesitate to tread. For them, using helicopters isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. These flying machines help navigate the tricky landscape with ease, making them indispensable for managing such a vast and challenging area. Plus, if you've ever tried to persuade a cow to move when it doesn't want to, you'll understand why having a helicopter overhead might be just the nudge they need. And then there's Consolidated Pastoral Company, or CPC for short. CPC isn't just any cattle company, it's one of Australia's largest, reigning over 3 million hectares of land. That's a lot of space for their 300,000 head of cattle to roam and graze. Managing such an empire requires not just resources, but also innovative techniques. CPC doesn't just use these flying machines, they've turned them into an art form. They've trained pilots in low-stress mustering techniques, a fancy way of saying they keep the cattle calm while herding them from the sky. Back to the issue of cost. Helicopters are not exactly budget-friendly. Depending on the model and features, these sky steeds can set you back anywhere from $250,000 to millions of dollars. Another challenge is maintenance. Helicopters aren't just pretty faces, they require regular maintenance to keep moving. We're talking engine checks, rotor servicing, and enough fuel. And let's not forget replacement parts, that's all part of the deal. So how do these farmers manage? Well, instead of buying helicopters outright, many farms choose to lease them or hire helicopter services. It's like renting a luxury car for prom night. You get to enjoy the ride without the commitment. Enough about helicopters for now. What are other technologies farmers are using? From hoe to high-tech. If someone were to ask you to list 10 farming tools, you might initially think of a watering can, a shovel, and perhaps a plow. But the truth is, farming has gone high-tech. We're talking about tools like drones, helicopters, GPS trackers, and a variety of other tech wonders that make farm life more efficient and exciting. Let's start with the GPS and other tracking tools for herd management. Gone are the days when farmers had to rely on their trusty sheepdog to keep track of their herd. Now, a GPS-enabled collar is all that's needed for herd management. These nifty devices allow farmers to pinpoint the exact location of each animal in real time. It's like having a personal detective for each cow, sheep, or goat. Farmers can now monitor grazing patterns, locate lost or stray animals with ease.
I'm monitoring getting about 500 GPS data points a day for each cow. And really looking in detail on identifying which places each cow prefers to graze.
One of the greatest benefits of GPS technology is its ability to optimize grazing management. What do we mean? By analyzing GPS data, farmers can track how long cattle are spending in particular grazing areas, preventing overgrazing in certain sections of pasture. This data allows ranchers to create better grazing rotations, ensuring that their herds always have fresh grass to eat and that the land remains healthy for future grazing seasons. This also helps in maintaining sustainability and improving soil health. There's also something called radio frequency identification tags, RFID tags for short. These tags, often attached to the ear of each animal, act as unique identifiers. With a simple scan, farmers can access a treasure trove of information: age, breed, health history, you name it. Managing large amounts of individual animal data has never been so simple. Now let's talk about something much smaller than a helicopter: drones. These flying wonders are not just for capturing stunning aerial shots for Instagram. In farming, drones are versatile tools that can do everything from monitoring crop health to spraying pesticides with pinpoint accuracy. They can cover large areas in a fraction of the time it would take on foot or even with traditional machinery. With drones, you'd be able to survey your entire farm without breaking a sweat or getting your boots dirty. With drones, farmers can gather valuable data on crop conditions, assess irrigation needs, and even spot pest infestations before they become a problem. It's like having an all-seeing eye in the sky that's always watching over your fields. Drones are also transforming the way farmers manage their livestock, particularly in vast rugged terrains where cattle have taken a liking to playing hide and seek. Equipped with thermal cameras, these drones can detect animals based on their heat signatures, so no more wandering through dense vegetation or losing precious hours in search of a prodigal cattle. In California, drones have taken on the role of aerial bodyguards for farms and cattle. Before embarking on a hunt for predators, farmers can use drones to scout their land and pinpoint potential threats. Once the target is identified, it's time for action. This high-tech hunting strategy not only makes the process more efficient, but also ups the success rate. So next time you see a drone soaring overhead, remember, it might just be on a mission to make farming more efficient and sustainable. And who knows? Maybe one day they'll even learn to milk cows. Until then, we'll just enjoy watching them herd cattle and tend crops from the sky. Another tool is the precision feeding technology, which allows cows to dine like royalty. It's like an automated feeder that serves up precisely measured portions, tailored to each cow's age, weight, and nutritional whims. No more underfeeding or overfeeding, just the perfect balance of nutrients to keep those milk machines moving smoothly. They also use smart feed bunkers, which is like a sensor that keeps a watchful eye on feed levels. When supplies run low, these bunkers automatically refill themselves, ensuring that herds never go hungry. Over the past 2 decades in the Kazakh Republic, where cattle farming isn't just a livelihood, but a way of life, the number of cattle in this Central Asian nation has skyrocketed by 60%. While this has been an economic boon for many farmers, it's also led to some not so great side effects like grassland degradation. But the resourceful people of Central Asia are turning to modern livestock farming techniques. At cutting-edge farms, sensor systems and software work in tandem to monitor the health, weight, and productivity of each animal. These technological tools help farmers optimize their operations, reduce disease risks, and produce top-quality products. Farmers also use breeding management software paired with wearable sensors. These nifty gadgets monitor cattle movements and body temperature, alerting farmers when the cattle is ready for a romantic appointment. Gone are the days of playing cattle matchmaker by eye. Now, farmers can optimize breeding schedules with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. But these sensors are not just for cows, they're in the soil too. These little earth detectives keep an eye on soil moisture, grass quality, and temperature. With this intel, farmers can make savvy decisions about grazing rotation, ensuring that pastures remain lush and herds stay healthy. Water management has also taken a leap into the future. Automated water troughs equipped with sensors ensure that cattle have a never-ending supply of clean water. But what if the water quality takes a fall? These systems will sound the alarm faster than you can say water, ensuring that your herd stays hydrated and hearty. For those farmers who like to stay ahead of the curve, advanced platforms now offer predictive analytics. These digital crystal balls forecast health trends, feed requirements, and even market demand. It's like having a farm-savvy fortune teller guiding your every move, allowing you to optimize production and plan with the precision of a master chess player. Now, you might be wondering, is it really necessary to swap traditional methods for these technological marvels? After all, Grandpa managed just fine without them, right? But consider this, in a world where efficiency and sustainability are key, embracing technology might just be the ticket to thriving in this modern age. So, why not give it a try? After all, even cows deserve to be part of the digital revolution. For people who do not know a thing about cattle farming, check this out. Central Asia, a region famed for its sturdy native cattle breeds that laugh in the face of harsh climates, is now also home to some of the most cutting-edge hybrid breeds. These cattle are not just about surviving, they're about thriving. With their higher meat yields and tender, nutrient-rich profiles, these hybrids are the culinary equivalent of a rock star, captivating taste buds from Moscow to Beijing. Central Asian beef is renowned for its vibrant red hue and perfectly marbled texture, making it the prom queen of steak dinners. Also, in Kyrgyzstan, the Karakol livestock market is where the magic happens. It's a bustling hotspot where cattle buyers and sellers engage in a dance as old as time itself. Except now buyers at this market are not just looking for any calf, they're on the hunt for the best. They meticulously inspect the calf's coats, teeth, and legs, ensuring they're investing in top-tier livestock. Some even request a live demo of the calf's runway walk to check for any leg or nervous system issues. Once satisfied, money is paid and the calves embark on their journey to their new homes. But let's not forget the little ones. Calves, much like toddlers, require a lot of care and attention in their early days. They need their mother's milk to grow strong and healthy, which farmers provide using specialized bottles or tubes. After a few weeks of this dairy delight, calves graduate to the solid food stage, starting with hay and small grains, a sort of bovine baby food. During this vulnerable period, farmers often house them in separate shelters to shield them from the cold and bolster their still developing immune systems. This blend of tradition and technology has turned cattle ranching into a lucrative enterprise in Central Asia. But as autumn takes its final bow and winter begins, farmers face a new challenge: keeping their herds warm and well-fed. The cattle are ushered into cozy shelters designed to fend off the chill with insulated walls. Here, the stockpiled hay becomes the dietary headliner, ensuring that every cow gets its fill of fiber-rich goodness. Of course, farmers aren't content to stop there. They often spice things up with grains or other delectable treats like sugar beets and oats to give their cattle an immune boost. After all, even cows like a little variety in their diet. In a world where milk is currency, or at least a staple of breakfast tables everywhere, hybrid cattle breeds are the rock stars of dairy production. These super cows can churn out up to 18 liters of milk per day, leaving local breeds in their dust with a mere 7 or 8 liters. It's enough to make you wonder if these hybrids have secret training regimens or just really good PR agents. Speaking of milk, what do you know about milking? Milking. On small traditional farms, hand milking remains a common practice. Farmers often rely on metal buckets to collect the milk, embracing the age-old methods that have served them well for generations. However, on larger farms, the scene is quite different. Milking machines are taking over, boosting efficiency and ensuring hygiene standards are met. Once milk is freshly collected, it's usually filtered and stored in cool containers or large tanks. In places where refrigeration is a luxury, the milk is used right away to prevent spoilage. Sometimes it's allowed to sour slightly before being gently warmed to prepare for coagulation. For dairy farms, location is key. Being close to populated areas and trading hubs ensures a steady supply chain. In contrast, remote cattle farms specializing in beef have a different approach. Beef doesn't need immediate consumption, so these farms can afford longer intermediary chains. With cold storage and export options, remote cattle farms don't face significant hurdles in supplying meat to large cities or exporting it to neighboring countries. And whether it's milking by hand or using machines, or raising cattle in remote regions or near bustling cities, farmers are adapting to meet the changing demands of consumers worldwide. With a focus on quality and sustainability, these farms are not just keeping up, they're leading the way in providing delicious, high-quality products for all to enjoy. So next time you sip your morning latte or sink your teeth into a succulent steak, take a moment to appreciate the fascinating process that brought them to your plate.